Welcome back yet again to another Ask Dan Anything, and today we've got a question from Fred, who got himself into a little debate with someone around content in one of my books, and it's something that's really worth me clarifying and defining a little further. So I'm gonna start by sharing the message that Fred received from his friend who's struggling to understand one of my concepts around embracing failure. So, the friend, Anonymous, says, with regards to not needing outcomes, the message seems to be that being goal or outcome oriented causes us grief and that letting go is a happier way to live. It follows that we should accept failure and don't try to win. It just seems so nihilistic, like giving up just because we can't deal with some failures. Personally, I like winning and I think that's pretty natural. I've always had difficulty with failure through relating to the negative perceptions of myself that failure brings up. But wouldn't the smartest way to deal with those perceptions be through winning rather than by shying away from it and over-embracing failure? Okay, so to summarize, this is a common misunderstanding of my message that happens, probably my own fault with the way I write things. Where when I say that we should let go of winning, people seem to think that I mean stop trying to do anything. Just give up and put no effort in, and that failure means just kind of slacking off. And this is what I really want to define. First off, I want to acknowledge that it is natural and totally understandable to enjoy winning. It just makes sense. But I also want to challenge the reasons why we enjoy winning. We think of it as a sign of success, and that's where I disagree. I think winning is an easy reward. It's validation, it's approval from our peers, it's giving ourselves the excuse to drown out the not good enough story for a brief few seconds. It's proving your, nasty father wrong, or the bullies that, it's revenge. There's a Frank Sinatra quote. I don't know if he actually said it. You can never trust quotes. But something that the best revenge is massive success. And so there's this kind of idea of winning where you've kind of proven yourself to the universe, to yourself, to others, to the mythical figures in your head. And you get an instant validation. And that's why we like winning. But to think that winning shows that we've done our best, to think that winning shows that we are at peak performance, that I believe is a miscalculation. I believe that if you've really gone to your absolute limits, it will be defined by a failure. And when I talk about embracing failure, I don't mean embracing slacking off. I mean going to the point where you cannot go any further. The absolute limit of your capability beyond what you thought your limit was. Failure means exceeding limits, and the best way to talk about failure, I think, is to use the analogy of the gym. Now, I can successfully do 6 pull-ups, but I can't do 7. But for me, it wouldn't be a win to just do 6. For me, a real win would be doing 6.5, because that would be the absolute limit of my strength. That's me busting my ass, that's me looking stupid in front of everybody else at the gym, veins popping out of my head, grunting, kicking my legs like I'm a wannabe CrossFit or whatever. If I'm struggling to fail, then that is the peak of my performance. Whereas to successfully complete something means I could have gone further. Winning is easier because you don't have to go further than beating your competition. You just need to get first place. And you can see this when in the Olympics, Usain Bolt, when he's ahead of the pack, you see him button off and just look at everyone and start smiling. At that point, how can you say he's at peak performance when he's clearly, eased off the accelerator? He's just done enough to win. And yet if he really wanted to, he could just go hard and, set a world record that doesn't get beaten for 1,000 million years, And I personally, my theory on him is the reason he buttons off is because he wants to be able to beat his records in the future. And there's probably a fear in him that if he really goes super hard out for every race, that he'll set limits that he can never achieve again. That could be totally bullshit. I've made a massive assumption about him. But the point being is I don't believe he wins when he does that in a race. I believe he beats his competition, but I don't believe he goes to his peak performance. I believe he kind of slacks off. I don't think it's good enough to beat everyone in the world. I think it's only good enough to really push yourself to limits where you fail, where you cross the finish line and fall face down in exhaustion. That is my definition of a win. One way to look at it is like climbing a mountain. I could climb an easy mountain, one that I can accomplish with minimal kind of effort, like it's an accomplishment, but I was definitely going to do it, and I can call that a win. Or I can attempt Everest and fail. And you've got to ask yourself, what are you going to be more proud of? Overcoming or accomplishing the easy mountain that you knew you could do, that took no extra resources beyond what you've already got? Or going to your absolute peak performance limit on Everest, not making it to the summit, but knowing that that is the hardest climb you've ever done in your life? Your definition of winning is going to be one of those two, isn't it? You're either going to think it means beating the mountain that was easy enough for you to beat, or failing on the mountain that was better than you. And you were still trying your best. And here's the key clarification here. When I say let go of winning and embrace failure, I mean going past winning, not stopping short. I mean going to the point where you literally cannot make yourself do any more. You fail, as in the gym term of failure. You go to the point where your muscles will not lift another centimeter. That is my definition of a win. And that might not beat my competition. If I'm beating my competition, my red flag goes up immediately. I'm in a pool that's too easy for me. If I'm a boxer and I've got, undefeated one after the other, then I'm not really winning, I'm cruising. I only know I'm really boxing when everyone kicks my ass. Then I know I'm in the right pool. So, one of the things I'd like to talk about winning is redefine it as pushing through resistance to fail better than you've ever failed before. To fail better than you thought you could fail today. If you do that, there's no concept of slacking off with failure. But also notice, and just take time to digest, that all those times you win, you didn't have to go harder than that. You were able to button off in a lot of those cases. It wasn't a peak performance required from you. Sometimes it is. Sometimes those coincide. You winning, beating your competition, coincided with you going past anything you thought you could. But I'd say beating those people is a secondary icing on the cake minor reward compared to knowing that you pushed yourself through your boundaries, that you are more superhuman than you were yesterday. That's just my thoughts on that, and I hope that further defines what I mean when I say embracing failure. I do not mean giving up. I do not mean cruising or being lazy or slacking off. Quite the opposite. I mean going harder than the person who wins. I mean pushing yourself further and putting yourself in a situation where you're going to lose because it's out of your grasp, because it's beyond your capability, instead of choosing the easy option that's within your capability. If you've got questions, send them through dan@brojo.co.nz. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, share these videos around if you like them, don't share them if you don't, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.